A great finish to the week, great focus by the group. I can see that just by their body language, by their eyes and what they're fixed on. The most important parts of the plays, taking in the cues and communicating. That's what we're looking for, and that's what it looked like today, leading into this game. So an amazing opportunity we're really fired up about.
Dave, before practice today, a bunch of veterans walked to practice that typically wouldn't. Was there any symbolism or anything behind that?
I didn't know that.
Well, now you did. Congratulations. What have you seen from the culture this week, at least as far as we talked about earlier in the week, the veterans speaking with the younger guys about the importance of this week and all the trials of the playoffs and stuff? Yeah,
there's great exchanges happening in the building with coaches, with players, player to player, all those things. People who have playoff experience and for, it's kind of the same message really for me talking to the guys. It is special, and it's important that we recognize that, we lean into it, and we feed off of that energy. That's all right. That's all a part of it. At the same time, we got to keep our head about us, and we have to make sure we execute on the most fundamental parts of it. Because as you can imagine, if you get too excited and caught up in the moment, then you can sacrifice technique. You can sacrifice the most basic parts, and sometimes you'll go too far, and that's not what I want either. I want everything they got within the whistles, but for the moment of it, it's a special thing. And I know that the guys appreciate that, sharing that with each other. I'm hearing stories, guys walking out, had a player talk to, is I've never even been in a playoff or championship environment at all, in their career. And that's amazing to think about, on a group of NFL players, the best of the best that are here, that just as chance would have it, not ending on teams that have a chance to play for it. So it's been really cool for guys to support each other, and they're all kind of just, they're excited about it.
Dave, Rob Hunt sounded optimistic yesterday. What's his status, and how do you expect to use him?
Status is questionable, but he had a great day. He had another fantastic day. He was out there with his guys. I'm very optimistic about Rob playing, and I can't put anything official out there until, of course, we come up with the final roster and all that stuff. But he looked great.
Will he be a starter?
Absolutely. Oh, yeah. If Rob can play, that's the whole reason, for last week it was we're not going to put him out there part-time. If he's playing, he's playing. And this is it. This is the only game we have. This is it. So he's got to go. He's fired up to help out his teammates. And obviously, that'll be all official whenever it is. So.
How would you use Austin?
Austin will be ready to play, pop in there in the interior. So, he can. That's the great part about Austin. He's given us the ability to play center, to play guard, different spots.
Just the energy that he brings to games. I mean, I know he's there on the sidelines, but I would imagine it's different when he's padded up. Absolutely.
Just play style-wise. You're talking about Rob?
Yeah, Rob.
Yeah, just talking about our play style. We start with effort. We go to enthusiasm, because that's how you connect with each other. Culture is what you celebrate. If you want to create a powerful culture and you want to create a mindset, then catch your players doing right. Catch them doing good, and then each other. That accountability goes both ways. It's not just about correcting people. It's also reinforcing what you love. Speaking of that, Rob is one of those guys. When somebody makes a great play, the first one down there is Rob Hunt. If it's a big run, if it's a big pass, a touchdown, you're not going to see anybody bigger or more excited than Rob Hunt, dancing with the guys, trying to, get into the choreographed dance any way he can. So he brings that type of energy. So I'm so glad that, we have a chance to get him back this week.
Coach, Mike Jackson had a bad interception drop against the Packers. On Tuesday, he said he rededicated himself to working with Jugs during practice. Have you seen the benefits of him refocusing his practice?
Absolutely, and that's the cool part about Mike, is just having the humility to work on your craft and knowing if something shows up as a weakness necessarily, or it's just a part of your game that you need to work on. Go attack it, don't avoid it. And that's a great way that Mike Jack just models that to the rest of the group. Guys, if something came up in the game that you need to work on, you should be there before or after practice. We're figuring it out, working through the issues. And so it's really cool that he sees the work paying off, because he's come up with some great plays for us.
Dave, y'all have won a lot of close games this year to get you to this point. And you've mentioned this before, George Lee has had a big role in that as game management coordinator. Is that fair to say that George has had a big role in y'all's playoff push this year?
Absolutely. George has been unbelievable for me, especially as you can imagine, head coach hat, play caller hat, all these different hats that I have to wear. it's so important that George, chimes in and makes sure that I'm ahead of what's coming so that I can plan, I can wrap my mind around what does this second, third down sequence look like if I could potentially go for it in these fourth down areas. And so giving me those cues, also just at the end of games, the mode that we're playing in, we need to be in tempo here, or we're in normal ball probably for another series. When to use timeouts, end of half, end of game, those types of things are hugely important as we try to get one more opportunity to win a game, or if we're ahead, to seal it and to make those decisions. And, he's just been unbelievable. We have conversations all throughout the week. He plans our situational our situations during our walkthroughs. George just kind of goes through the league to see like fun, critical situations that have come up for other teams. Or if there was one that we need to repeat, we'll see that on a Wednesday or Thursday. Those are such great reps. They're invaluable for Ajero and I as we get to call it against each other, when to use timeouts and not, and the different field zones so that you can have your menu ready and the guys know what to expect. So George has been unbelievable in that way.
I'm sorry, Dave. The team hinted that Cam Newton would be here this week to bang the drum. What are your thoughts on that?
I heard about that. I heard that rumor. For me, it's just we can use all the help we can get. You talk about bringing juice, and that's that momentum, that energy that comes. And I think about Cam. I just think of aura. And like he's the biggest big person. It's not just by his height and size, but also just the personality. And I just if that happens, I think it's amazing, and we can use any type of energy and that enthusiasm. And I know that I know our fans in Bank of America Stadium will be fired up if that does happen.
Are you around the West?
What have you? What are you thinking about with Wharton, Bobby Brown, some guys like that? Do you expect to be full go?
They all look pretty good today. They're going through. They're making sure that they go through protocols the correct way. Or obviously we have to respect that part of it and go day to day until they're cleared. Obviously the full injury report will come out a little bit later because of the West Coast time with the Rams, but. The guys are stacking great days, and I mean, it's a blessing to be getting as healthy as you can be. As far as the league is concerned, I mean, this is amazing. Just and I get to talk about Denny Kellington. I get to talk about Josh Hinkst and how they prepare our guys and how they regen our guys after games and get them ready for entire season, and to have essentially like a fully healthy group other than a few RI guys. I mean, it's unbelievable.
And you do have guys who've been out for a little bit, pushing themselves, and clearly they want to be out there, but also the protocols that come, and just towing the line, knowing that I think everybody knows this could be the last. So just their desire to play.
Absolutely. That's the exciting part about it for a lot of them, because they came into the season with the intent of helping win the division so that we can go to the playoffs. And to have this opportunity, you could feel that urgency of guys battling to get back and really wanting to, and so they attack their work each day, and it's created a great urgency about what we're doing. And then, but also with that comes roster moves, and those parts are hard too, because there's a bunch of guys that have helped us to get to this point. And as guys come back on the roster in different ways or step into playing roles, there were guys that played meaningful football for us to help us get there. So that's always an emotional challenge, but a great opportunity for everybody as well.
Dave, I know you're locked into the playoffs, but if you go back to 2023, you were getting ready for a playoff run, also getting ready for head coaching interviews. There's a lot going on, and you guys won a playoff game. You guys had success. You ended up here. Do you say anything to anybody on your staff about like how big? I mean, they know how important a playoff game is, but how big it could be for their careers, long term and short term.
Not really. For me, it's about the focus, and we know that when you do well, good things happen for everybody, and we try to extend that from the coaches to coaches, but also with the players. Like, guys, when we do good, it's good for everybody, and it's good for the organization. It's great for the community. For our city here, just driving around and the excitement that's happening, and Panthers flags everywhere, and I know that it elevates the whole thing when you have this type of success, including from a job opportunity standpoint.
Do a couple more. What have you seen out of Bryce this week that's maybe a little different, just in leadership role, just first playoff game? Anything unusual at all?
Pretty consistent. Bryce Bryce is really consistent in terms of his prep, our normal conversations throughout the week, checking with Brad, checking with Will, checking with myself, making sure we're all on the same page for the purpose of the things. And, he goes out there to practice, and he just continues to lead the group and make sure that we get to the right play. And his demeanor stays pretty even, and which is why he's performed really well for us in critical situations, and end of game type of situations and fourth downs, those types of things. It's just his makeup, and he's played in big games before, and he played at Alabama. That's every game there, every home game there is a high pressure game. The expectation to win and all those things. So I believe he's just a guy who's prepared for this emotionally, and he's had a great week.
They seem to indicate that Quentin Lake would be back for this week. I know you didn't face him in week 13. Just from what you've seen, how does he change that defense?
He's a phenomenal player. He's got size, length, speed. He's aggressive, plays around the line of scrimmage aggressively, almost like a linebacker at times, and then he can cover in the slot. And, he matches up well against Jalen in the slot, T-Mac and those guys because of his lengths, over 6'1", 200-ish pounds, a fantastic player. And we love playing teams when they're at their best, and they got one of their best players back in the secondary, and so we got to be up for that challenge.
Last question from, we got Deshaun, who's that back there? Cam? Yeah. Cam and Deshaun.
It was him.
Cam and Fitz.
She wasn't going to ask this, so I'll take it. Just big picture, you mentioned the excitement and managing that for the guys. How have they handled sort of enjoying the moment and enjoying what's at stake, but also not losing focus?
Yeah, I've felt a shift. I've felt like this. First of all, my group, our team, they're a pretty serious group. So, our meetings, it's taken all of 2 years to really get into the flow of guys. These are supposed to be fun. We want to learn good content, but we're trying to entertain you. We want you to be happy about being here and at the same time give you great information. But I've seen the group grow, and especially this week, coming into a work week where it's like they understand how big of an opportunity this is. And at the same time, I don't want them to miss the joy of it. I don't want them to miss how hard we've had to work to be in this position. And as the week has gone along with each day, the confidence, I can feel the guys just kind of press into the moment and really enjoy each other's time, because there's also this other element. I would love to win this game. I would love to make the divisional round. And if we don't, this is our last week of work together. Let's not miss that. We've had too much fun together. We've worked way too hard, built relationships, and spent a lot of time together. Let's cherish all these moments and let's go out and celebrate one more time on the field.
Last question from Cam.
Dave, just in your years in the league, I'm curious how common or uncommon it is to see a rookie class with so many guys that have stepped up in different ways. And looking at this year's class specifically, how much confidence does that give you in the program you guys are building to know that you have been able to identify and develop guys that have been able to, again, contribute in a bunch of different ways throughout the season?
It gives me an opportunity to talk about Dan Morgan, the amazing job he's done evaluating talent, evaluating football character, personal character, and then the ability to help us from a football standpoint. And he and I just constant conversations about how can we get these guys involved, because they're going to have to help us at some point. And that's been true for all of them. They've all had to step up and help us. And Jimmy Horn's role continuing to grow. You talk about Nick, who's been out there the whole time. Lathan Ransom, just growing into different roles and making impacts on special teams, those types of things. I can go on and on our entire rookie class, but it's also a staff that's committed to development, that's committed to spending all the extra time they need to with these guys to make sure they're as ready as possible for game day. But we need them. We need them now. We've needed them down the stretch and certainly in the future, and this is all I like saying this too, just every mistake that a rookie makes for you early on is an investment in your future, and it's an opportunity to learn and to grow, and it does pay dividends.
Thank you, Coach.
All right, thank you.